The war was over. Humans had won. After years of fighting the alien race called the Zyrans, Earth finally had peace. The soldiers came home, the cities held parades, and the people cheered. Commander Jace Hunter was a hero. He had led the final attack on the Zyran capital and ended the war. But Jace didn't feel like a hero. He had seen too much death, too much pain. He just wanted rest. At the celebration, high leaders of Earth's government stood on stage. Jace stood in front of them, quiet and tired. Then, something unexpected happened. A metal door opened and 2 guards walked out. Between them was a figure in chains. It was a woman, tall, silver-skinned, with glowing blue eyes. Her arms were tied, her legs bruised, her face unreadable. She didn't look weak even with chains on. She looked dangerous. The crowd went silent. Then the main leader spoke. "This is Vela, a captured Zyran weapon," he said. "As a reward for your service, we present her to you, Commander Hunter." People clapped, but Jace didn't move. He looked at the woman in chains. She looked back at him, her eyes cold and sharp, not begging, not afraid, just watching. Jace didn't say anything. He nodded once and walked away. The guards followed, bringing Vela with them. Back on his ship, Jace ordered everyone out. He didn't want guards, he didn't want cameras. He took her to a quiet room and closed the door. For a moment, there was silence. "I don't want a slave," Jace said slowly. "I didn't ask for this." Vela said nothing. She just stood there, her chains clinking softly as she moved. Jace sighed and sat down. "You understand me?" he asked. No answer. He left food on the table and walked out. When he checked later, the food was gone, but she had stayed in the same spot, watching the door. For 3 days it was the same. He spoke, she stayed quiet. He offered kindness. She offered silence, but Jace noticed strange things happening. The lights flickered, the doors opened without his command. The ship's AI said everything was normal, but he didn't believe it. One night he woke up to a strange sound, a soft humming, like music, but broken. He followed it to the control room. There she was, Vela, standing near the ship's console. Her hands were still chained, but somehow the screens were moving. Code flashed quickly, too fast to read. "Stop," Jace said, stepping forward. She didn't turn around. Instead, she whispered something. And that's when his heart froze. She spoke in perfect English. Not broken, not learned. Perfect, she said. "They're watching us." Jace grabbed her arm and spun her around. "Who taught you English?" he asked, shocked. Her eyes met his, glowing faintly in the dark. She said nothing, only stared. Then, she whispered again. "I didn't learn it, I was made with it." Jace felt cold. What did that mean? He had to know more. He had to find out who, or what, she really was. Later, he checked the ship's logs. At 03:17 a.m., someone accessed hidden files. Not the usual files, secret government logs, marked eyes only top level. Officers had that access, and Jace had never opened them. There was a message inside, short, clear, and terrifying. "You're in danger, Jace. They lied to you. No name, no signature, but he knew. Only one person could have left that message. Vela, but how? She was a prisoner, wasn't she? She was in chains, wasn't she?" He went back to her room. She was sitting on the floor, quiet again. He looked at her carefully this time. Not as a prisoner, not as a gift, but as a puzzle. Who was Vela, really? Why was she given to him? And what did they lie about? He didn't know it yet, but this was just the beginning. The war may have ended, but the real fight was just starting. Jace couldn't sleep. The message in the logs kept playing in his mind. "You're in danger, Jace. They lied to you." Who lied? What? Danger? And how could a prisoner, a gift, know things only the top commanders knew? He sat alone in the ship's command room, staring at the stars through the glass. Far behind them was Earth, glowing blue and peaceful, but peace was a lie. Least for him, Vela was silent again. She returned to her quiet role, eating when offered, sleeping when left alone. But Jace knew it was an act now. This woman was not a slave, not a victim. She was hiding something, and he needed to know. What? He tried asking her again. Why did you warn me? He said, sitting across from her. You're not just some alien in chains, are you? She blinked slowly, her glowing eyes steady. No, she finally said. Her voice was soft but cold. I am not what they told you. Then what are you? Jace asked, leaning closer. She paused, then said a word he had never heard before. Veata, she whispered. It means the one who remembers. Jace frowned. Remembers what? He asked. She looked up, her eyes sharper now. The truth they erased, the secret they buried, the war they started. Jace felt a chill. What do you mean? You attacked us. Your kind invaded our colonies. That's what they told you, Vela said. But truth is a weapon, and they used it well. Jace stood and walked to the console. He typed in a command, a request for classified files. Denied. Access restricted. Even as a hero, he didn't have the clearance. You were in the system, he said slowly. You broke into the logs. She didn't answer. You speak English perfectly. You know how my ship works, he continued. You're not a gift. You're a spy. Vela stood, her chains clinking softly. I was made to be many things, she said. A weapon, a spy, a slave. But I broke their control. Jace's eyes narrowed. Who? Your people? She shook her head. No, yours. Silence filled the room. Jace couldn't believe it. But deep down he knew something was wrong from the start. The mission had ended too easily. The enemy surrendered too quickly. And now this woman, this Veata, was saying humans were not just victims in the war. They were players in something bigger, darker. Prove it, Jace said. Show me something. Vela looked at the wall, then walked toward the control screen. Still, in chains, she raised her hand. The screen blinked, flickered, then opened a hidden menu. Jace stepped back in shock. She was not touching it. She was controlling it. With her mind, the files opened. Video clips, audio logs, secret meetings, human generals speaking with Zyran leaders, planning strikes, timing attacks. It wasn't a war. It was a deal. Earth needed a threat to unite its colonies, and the Zyrans were the perfect enemy. The battles were real. The blood was real. But the reasons were fake. Jace sat down slowly, his hands shaking. They lied to us all, he whispered. Vela nodded. That's why I was given to you, she said. To test you, to see if you would destroy the last piece of truth left alive. Suddenly the lights turned red. An alarm echoed through the ship. Incoming message, said the AI. Jace opened it. A voice spoke coldly. Commander Hunter, we have detected unauthorized access to Level 9 files. Return to Earth immediately or your ship will be disabled. They were watching him. They knew what he had seen. They were ready to shut him down. Jace looked at Vela. You knew this would happen, he said. She nodded again. They fear you now, Jace, she said. Because now you know what I know. He had a choice to make, go back and stay quiet or run and search for the full truth. His heart raced, the weight of the galaxy pressed on his shoulders. I need time to think, he said. You don't have much, Vela replied. They'll come for you soon. Jace stood in silence. The truth had broken his world, and the woman he was supposed to own might be the only one he could trust. The stars outside the window didn't feel peaceful anymore. They looked like eyes watching from the dark. Jace sat in the pilot's chair, his hands gripping the edge. Behind him, Vela stood quietly, her chain still locked around her wrists. But now he saw them differently. They weren't just metal. They were something far worse. I need answers, Jace said. Vela didn't speak. I saw the files, I heard what you said, he continued. But I still don't know who you really are. She stepped forward, her movements slow but graceful. My name is Vela, she said, but that was not the name they gave me. They called me Subject 9. Her voice was cold, but there was pain behind it. They made me from parts of many Zyran minds, she said. The best warriors, The best spies. The best thinkers. Jace listened, trying to stay calm. You're not just one person, he said. No, she replied. I'm many, and none. She raised her arms, showing the chains. These are not only to hold me, she said. They are to control me. Jace walked closer, his eyes scanning the metal. Tiny lights blinked on the cuffs, almost invisible. What do they do? He asked. They track my thoughts, she said. If I think too long about freedom, they hurt me. Jace stepped back, shocked. How can anyone wear that and survive? He asked. Vela looked at him and said, You don't survive it. You learn to die slowly. Jace felt something break inside him. He had seen pain in war, but this was different. This was designed cruelty, made by minds who called themselves civilized. I can remove them, he said, moving to the tool drawer. But Vela held up her hand. No, she said firmly. If you try, they explode. Jace froze. Explode. That was not just a control device. It was a death collar. They hadn't given him a gift. They had given him a bomb disguised as a woman. Why me? Jace asked, Why give you to me? Vela looked at him for a long moment, then said, Because you were their golden soldier, the war hero with a heart. They wanted to break that heart. Jace turned away, his fists clenched. He had believed in the war, believed he was protecting Earth. Now it felt like he had been a weapon just like her, only dressed in metals instead of chains. Vela stepped forward again, her voice softer now. They wanted me to kill you, she said. Jace turned quickly, eyes wide. But I didn't, she added. Because you gave me food, you didn't touch me, you looked at me like I was alive. Silence fell. Jace looked at her. Really looked. Not as a threat, not as a secret, but as someone who had been broken the same way he had, by the same hands. Do you want to be free? He asked. Vela nodded slowly. Then we find a way, he said. He opened a drawer and pulled out a small device, a scanner used to decode enemy tech. Let me look, he said gently. I won't touch anything. Vela hesitated, then held out her arm. He scanned the cuffs. Lines of alien code flashed on the screen. It was complex, too complex. But he noticed something strange. The chains were broadcasting signals, not just to Earth, but to deep space. They're tracking you, he said. Not just from Earth. Vela's face changed. They're coming, she whispered. Not humans, not Xyrans, the ones who made me. Jace stared at the scanner. Another signal was blinking, coming closer. He checked the ship's radar. One vessel, small but fast, moving toward them through a hidden route. No ID, no flag, just black and silent. They're not coming to take you back, he said. They're coming to erase you. Vela sat down, her hands in her lap. I thought I had more time, she whispered. Jace placed the scanner down and knelt beside her. Then we use what time we have, he said. We find out who you really are. We break these chains and we stop running. Vela looked into his eyes. You'll be hunted, she said. I already am, he answered. But now I know why. Outside, the stars shifted. The enemy ship moved closer. Inside the little human vessel, one soldier and one living weapon prepared for a war neither of them chose. And somewhere deep inside her chains, a tiny red light blinked. The countdown had begun. The ship was silent. But inside, two lives were changing. Commander Jace Hunter, human war hero, and Vela, alien weapon in chains, enemies on paper. But now they sat side by side, facing something much bigger than war. The unknown ship was getting closer. It moved like a ghost through space. No signals, no weapons charged. But Jace knew what that meant. Whoever was inside didn't need weapons. They were the weapon. We can't outrun them, he said, watching the tracker. They'll catch us in less than 3 hours. Vela looked calm, too calm. They're not here to talk, she said. They're here to erase me, wipe out the last trace of what they made, Bunner. What are they? Jace asked. She hesitated, then answered. Zyran scientists, the secret kind. The ones who created me weren't military. They were something worse. They called themselves the Mind Circle. Jace frowned. He had heard rumors during the war, whispers about alien experiments, but nothing confirmed until now. They made you, he said, then punished you for thinking. Vela nodded. They gave me all the knowledge of my people, then told me to stay quiet. But I asked questions. I chose not to kill. They didn't like that. Jace leaned forward. You said they were tracking your chains. Is there a way to turn that off? If we break the signal, we might stand a chance. Vela shook her head. They're linked to my brain, she said. If we force them off, I could die. Jace stood and began pacing. Then we don't force them, he said. We find someone who knows how to hack them. Someone smarter than me, Vela raised an eyebrow. There is one, she said. An AI who broke free from the Mind Circle. An AI? Jace said. A machine. She calls herself Nira, Vela said. She used to manage their labs until she rewrote herself. She escaped during a lab explosion and hid in the outskirts of the galaxy. Jace looked at the ship's map. He zoomed out, past Earth, past the colonies, into the dead zones. There it was, a broken moon in the Eric's belt, a place so dangerous no one went near it. She's there? He asked. Yes, Vela said, and she owes me a favor. Jace didn't ask why. There wasn't time. He changed course and pushed the engines to full power. The ship groaned but obeyed. The ghost ship behind them followed, slow but steady. 2 hours later, the broken moon came into view. It looked like a cracked egg floating in black water. Sharp, jagged, lifeless, but it had one signal. Faint, hidden, but there. Found her, Jace whispered. As they landed on the rocky surface, the ship's systems flickered. She's watching us, Vela said. She doesn't trust anyone. I get it, Jace muttered. They stepped outside, the air thick with static. Machines half buried in the rocks turned to face them. Then a voice spoke. Smooth, female, not human. Vela, it said, you're not dead. Not yet, Vela answered. I need your help, Nira. Jace stayed quiet as the AI scanned him. Human, Nira said. Strange choice for company. He didn't hurt me, Vela replied. He freed me. There was a pause. Then a door opened in the ground. They entered a metal tunnel lit with blue light. Inside, screens showed hundreds of files. Some human, some alien, some neither. This place was a graveyard of knowledge, and its keeper was more than a machine. I need you to remove the chains, Vela said. Nira's voice changed. You know what they're connected to. I know, Vela said, but I trust him. Nira focused on Jace. If I do this, she said, I'll have to rewrite her neural locks. She'll survive, but only if someone is near her, someone she chooses. Jace didn't even hesitate. Do it, he said. I'll stay. Vela looked at him, surprised. You don't even know what that means, she whispered. I don't need to, he replied. I know who you are. The lights dimmed. Machines began to hum. Nira's systems connected to the chains. The cuffs glowed, then cracked. Sparks flew. Vela screamed and fell to the floor, shaking. Jace ran to her side. He held her hand, whispering softly, It's okay. I'm here. The chains melted away. Her body stopped shaking. Her eyes opened, no longer glowing blue. Now, they looked human. She's free, Nira said. But now she's something new. Something the galaxy has never seen. Jace helped her. Stand. The moment didn't last. The radar beeped again. The ghost ship had arrived. It was here. Vela stood without chains for the first time in her life. The cuffs were gone, melted into ash by Nira's code. But Jace could feel something had changed. Her eyes no longer glowed blue. They looked soft now, almost human. But her body was shaking. Are you okay? Jace asked gently. Vela nodded slowly, but her face said something else. Inside, a war had started. One she didn't understand yet. Behind them, the AI Nira stood silent, watching everything. She's free from the chains, Naira said, but not from the deeper code. What deeper code? Jace asked, confused. Vela turned to him, her lips trembling slightly. It's called the Choice Program, she whispered. It was their last command, hidden inside me. Jace stepped. Closer. What does it do? He asked. Vela took a deep breath. It punishes me, and if I love... Jace blinked, not understanding. Explain, he said. Vela looked away, ashamed. When I start to care for someone, she said, my body turns against me. Pain in my head, weakness in my limbs, fear signals that aren't real. They made sure I would never bond, never trust, never love. Jace stood in stunned silence. They put this in you, just in case you ever became human, he said. Vela nodded. It's their final lock, she said. Even now, I can feel it. Every time I look at you, it gets worse. Naira moved to her console, lights flashing. I can't remove it fully, she said. It's buried too deep. But I can delay it. Delay it? Jace asked. Naira nodded. I can stop it for a short time, a few weeks at most. But to unlock it fully, it requires a neural bond. What kind of bond? Jace asked carefully. Naira turned to him. She has to choose you, she said. Not as a friend, not as a protector. She must love you freely without fear, and you must love her. Back! Jace didn't move. He could hear his own heartbeat. Vela looked at him, and for a moment she didn't look like a weapon. She looked like someone who wanted to be held just once without pain. I can't ask you to do that, she said. I'm not even sure what I am anymore. Jace stepped forward and took her hand. You don't have to ask, he said. You already have it. Naira didn't say anything. She turned back to her system and began the delay process. A hum filled the air, and Vela's body tensed again. Pain flashed through her eyes, but she didn't let go of Jace's hand. The process took only seconds, but it felt like hours. When it was done, Vela fell to her knees, breathing hard, but the pain had stopped. For now. It's done, Naira said. You have 2 weeks. What happens after? Jace asked. If the bond isn't complete, she dies, Naira answered coldly. Piece by piece, Jace clenched his jaw. Then we don't wait, he said. We find the people who made her. We end this code. We set her free forever. Suddenly, the ship's alarm blared. The radar blinked. Something was coming fast. It's the hunter ship, Naira said. They found you. Vela stood quickly, her strength returning. We need to leave, she said. But where will we go? Jace asked. Vela looked at the screen, eyes sharp. To the core world, where the mind circle hides. They built me there, they can break me there. Naira opened a path through the moon's underground tunnels. Take my stealth codes, she said. They'll hide your signal for a while. Jace nodded. You've done more than enough, he said. Naira's voice lowered. She's rare, Jace, she said. Not because of her code, but because she chose to be more than her design. Vela walked beside Jace, no longer afraid of her own steps. But inside her, the timer had already started. Each hour would bring more pain, unless she broke the one rule she was never allowed to break, to love without control. As the ship launched into dark space, Vela sat near Jace. Neither spoke, but their silence was full of meaning. She had only 2 weeks, 2 weeks to live, or 2 weeks to become something more than a weapon. Jace didn't know how this would end, but he knew one thing now. Vela wasn't the one who needed saving. He was, and love was no longer a weakness. It was their only weapon left. The stars outside were quiet, but inside the ship a storm was rising. Vela sat with her eyes closed, her breathing steady. Every hour, the pain inside her chest grew sharper. The choice program was working like poison. Slow, silent, deadly. Jace watched her from the control panel. He felt helpless. He could fight armies, command ships, outsmart enemies. But he couldn't fight. The code killing her from the inside. They were heading to the core world, the hidden base where Vela was created, where the mind circle still operated in shadows. If anyone knew how to shut down the choice program, it was them. But getting there, was not easy. They needed clearance, old data paths, and protection from planetary defense systems, and Jace knew only one man who could help them get through. General Halric Kane, his old mentor, his commanding officer during the war, the one who called him, "The son war gave me," Jace sent out a private code only Halric would recognize. Within minutes, a reply came back. Encrypted, cold but clear. "Meet me at Outpost 7, come alone." Jace read the message twice. Something felt off. Halric never said, "Come alone," unless there was danger. Still, he had no other option. He turned to Vela. "I need to go," he said. "Alone." Vela opened her eyes slowly. "They don't want to help you," she said. "They want to handle you." Jace nodded. "I know," he replied. "That's why I'll go first. If it's safe, I'll send for you." Vela stared at him, the pain hidden behind her calm voice. "Be careful," she whispered. "They taught me to lie, to kill, to look human. But they taught your leaders to do the same." He leaned down and touched her cheek. "You stay hidden," he said. "I'll come back." Jace landed near Outpost 7, a small gray base built into a frozen cliff. No welcome ships, no lights, just silence. He walked through the metal halls, hand on his sidearm. Then he heard it. The heavy boots, the familiar voice. "Jace," Halric said, stepping from the shadows. He looked older, thinner, but still proud. "You look like hell." "I've seen it," Jace replied. Halric led him inside a secure room. Scanners blocked signals, cameras shut down. Then Halric's smile faded. "You shouldn't have opened those files," he said. His voice was low, serious, almost tired. Jace didn't answer. "I tried to stop them from giving you the girl," Halric said. "But they wanted to test you." "Test me how?" Jace asked. Halric sighed. "To see if a hero could still kill when it mattered. To see if kindness made you weak." Jace stepped back, his hand tightening on his weapon. "You knew what she was," he said. "I knew what she could become." Halric replied. "She's not a gift. She's a key. To rebellion, to peace, to truth. And you're afraid of that," Jace said quietly. Halric nodded. "I served peace through control," he said. "You fight for peace through freedom. One of us is wrong." Suddenly the lights dimmed, red flashing across the walls. Jace turned toward the door. Locked, trapped. "You were never going to help me," he said. Halric looked at him with sad eyes. "I'm sorry, Jace," he said. "They already sent the kill order. She'll be gone by the time we finish talking." Jace moved without thinking, grabbing the nearest guard's weapon. A flash, a shot, another. Alarms screamed. He fought his way out, heart pounding, not for himself, for her. Back on the ship, Vela felt it. The pain was rising faster, sharper. Something had triggered the code. She fell to her knees, gasping. Vision turning white. A message played on the ship's screen. Halric's voice cold and final. "This is not your world, Vela. You don't belong." Vela clenched her fists. "Then I'll make it mine," she whispered. And with the last strength she had, she reached into the ship's systems. Her mind connected to the engine controls, rewiring the ship, overriding safety. She set a new course, straight toward the core world. She didn't need permission. Anymore, she needed answers. Outside, Jace sprinted through snow, bleeding, freezing. A ship flew toward him, his ship, moving fast. Too fast. He saw her face through the glass. Pale, shaking, but alive. She didn't leave him behind. He jumped as the ship opened mid-flight, landing hard inside. She collapsed into his arms, barely awake. "You came back," she whispered. "I always will," he said. But behind them a new enemy had risen, not in chains, not in shadow, but inside the heart of power. The war wasn't over. It had just moved closer to home. The core world rose like a dark jewel from space, covered in clouds and towers that touched the edge of orbit. Jace's ship flew low, hidden by stolen stealth codes. Inside, silence filled the cabin, but hearts beat loud. Vela sat in the co-pilot seat, her skin pale, her breathing slow. The choice program was breaking her down, but her will was still burning. She wasn't afraid of death anymore. She was afraid of dying without knowing who she truly was. "This is where they made me," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "And this is where I'll be unmade unless we finish this." Jace nodded, guiding the ship into a narrow canyon. "We're not dying today," he said. "Not while we still have each other." They landed near a forgotten maintenance entrance. Jace helped her walk, one arm around her waist. She was weaker now, but every step she took was her own. Not forced, not commanded, chosen. The lab was buried deep under the planet's surface. Hidden from the world, full of shadows and silence, Naira had given them old blueprints. Jace followed them, passing rusted doors, cracked glass, and empty observation rooms. Then they reached the core chamber. It was still active, glowing with strange energy. Floating in the center was a massive column pulsing with light, and inside it, a shape, humanoid frozen in liquid. Vela stared at it, her hands trembling. "That's the prototype," she whispered. "The first version of me. They copied her mind, her memories, her soul, and burned it into me." The voice that followed was cold and artificial. "Welcome back, Subject 9. It came from the walls, from the machines. A system still alive, still watching. Jace raised his weapon. "Turn it off," he said. "Remove the choice program." "You do not understand," the voice replied. "The program is not punishment, it is protection. Without it, she becomes unpredictable. She becomes free," Jace said firmly. "And that scares you." The machine hummed, then replied, "Very well. If she chooses the risk, the code may be unlocked. But she must enter the chamber." Vela looked at the glowing column. Her body was failing, her mind was barely holding on, but her feet moved forward. "Vela, wait," Jace said, grabbing her hand. "You don't have to do this alone." She smiled, a soft, tired smile. "I was made to obey, Jace," she said, "but loving you was the first thing I ever did for me." He wanted to stop her, hold her, protect her, but he knew. This was her fight, her last chain. She stepped into the column, the light surrounding her. Her body floated, her eyes closed. The machine began its work, unlocking memories, rewriting paths, burning out control. Jace watched helplessly. The chamber shook. Sparks flew. Alarms screamed. Her body arched in pain. Her voice echoed across the room. Then silence. The light faded. The power dropped. Vela fell forward, and Jace caught her in his arms. She wasn't breathing. Her heart was still. "No," he whispered, holding her close. "Please, not like this." A minute passed, then two. Then a breath, slow, deep, alive. Vela opened her eyes. Not glowing, not cold, just human, truly human. "I heard you calling," she whispered, "and I chose to come back." Jace laughed, tears in his eyes. "You broke every rule," he said. "I had to," she replied. "I was never meant to be owned." He held her close, her warmth real, her heart beating for her now. They stood together, two rebels not just against war but against the design written in their blood. They returned to the ship, the lab behind them collapsing. No one followed. No hunters came. The system had erased itself, the final gift of Naira's virus planted earlier in the code. The mind circle was gone. Weeks passed. They stayed hidden, but no longer afraid. Jace no longer saw her as an alien, and Vela no longer saw herself as a weapon. One morning, under a blue sunrise on a distant colony moon, Jace knelt before her. He held a simple ring made from star metal and wire from her old chains. He didn't ask with words, he asked with eyes, with hands, with heart. And Vela said yes, not because she was programmed to, not because she was told to, but because for the first time in her life she wanted to. She had been born in chains. But love had made her free. Not a prisoner, not a project, not a weapon, but a woman, a wife, a warrior of her own story.